worked at India after my undergraduation for 2 years. After that, I came to US in '97. It's been 20 years close in California. I worked at Cisco for a little over 11 years, and then I worked at Yahoo for a year. And the last 6 years I've been with Oracle. I'm here because of Dr. Tang, who is the host of this event. He and I are colleagues at SU today, but he was also my professor until 2012. When I graduated, I started to teach in the same domain as him. I teach program management. He, Tang, teaches project and advanced project management. I'm going to talk about that topic in this. We've got a couple of speakers prior to me, Josh and Yan talk about what takes you to become a good leader, right? And what skills that you need. I think two of the items that were mentioned are you need to be authentic, and you need to know about yourself so you can feel comfortable in your own skin, right? And then you need to be good at teamwork and a few other things. I'm going to give a bit more details because I'm going to cover the bottom of the pyramid. So what I'm going to cover is when you're just entering or trying to be in the first-line management after spending 5 to 10 years as an engineer, you're trying to take a transition to the management or a technical space. At that point of time, what is that you need to have, or what is the roadblocks that you might have so that you can do some gaps, right? Before you can try to bridge any gaps that you may have, you need to understand typically what challenges do you come across when you're trying to move from an engineer to either first-line management or a technical path. At some point after 5 to 10 years into your career, you realize that you needed to take the next step. So the first question that comes into your mind is, should I choose the technical path or the management? By that I mean, in the technical path, you can become a senior engineer, you can become probably a tech lead, an architect, and a distinguished engineer. And then if you choose the management, you have a similar path exists. You can be a manager, senior manager, VP, and so on, right? And after that, you have C-level. Between VP and C-level, you have a transitional, you can be GVP, senior VP, and executive VP, and so on. So when you know you are ready to take a step further from an IC, individual contributor role, to either technical path or management, you need to understand you need to gain additional skill set than when you were an engineer. So to give you an example, when I was Cisco, I had exactly the same situation. By the time I'm into Cisco, I was there for 11.5 years. By the middle of it, I started to take technical certifications. At the same time, I also started to take the program management certification and enrolled myself in master's. So I was ready to try either, whichever comes to my way first. But sometimes you need to understand not everybody is cut out to be in the management. If you are very introvert and you really enjoy doing technical stuff and you like to know the bit and bytes details and to be continuing in the technical field, probably the technical path is best for you. But if you do enjoy leadership or a change management and you like to be a manager, you could consider the other path as well. For me, while I try to improve my resume by doing both, my first opportunity came to lead program management within Cisco. At that time, Cisco was trying program management not in the IT, which was a common case. They wanted to try program management in engineering as well. So they gave me an opportunity to lead the PMO. That's when I started to lead engineering PMO. Since then, I never looked back. I led the PMO in Yahoo, followed by I lead the PMOs at Oracle now. The one thing that I like the most in PMO is even though it keeps you a little bit away from the technical area, what it gives you the visibility. You work with the cross-functional groups within the organization and across the companies. So that gives you much more visibility than if you were to be in one business unit being an engineer or management within that function. All right. So when you are placed directly from an engineer to management, sometimes it's hard. You feel it overwhelming for a couple of reasons. One, you may be very good technically, but when you step into management, what happens? The thing, communication, I think it's been brought up earlier as well. Communication is very important. Either you are seeking a program management role or a management itself, line management. In fact, program management or PMP or PMI organization says 90% of a program management is communication. So it is key. Communication means how you communicate with your peers as well as your team, of course, executive management, your customers at several different levels. How do you communicate? What mode you use? How frequently you communicate? So it's a key, if you want to be transitioning into management, it's key how you communicate. Next one is knowing the business knowledge. You may be very good as an engineer when you're in IC roles, but when you transition to management, having a business knowledge is important. Who are your customers? What is your competition? What is the ROI from your product? How does your product rank against the other products within your portfolio? So knowing the product or infrastructure, whatever you're building, understanding what is the business value of it helps you besides knowing the technical aspect of it. And then team management. Delivering as an individual contributor is the one thing, and then delivering as a team. It's very similar to how you play sports. No matter how good you are as an individual, when the team wins, you get the more credibility than what you have done as an individual contributor. And the conflict management. When you are in an IC role, you can get away from a conflict, or you can make sure you don't get into conflicts. But when you are managing a team, you cannot avoid that one. Even as a program manager or a management, you simply cannot avoid conflicts. You need to learn how to deal with it in a good way, win-win way. You may lose some, and the opponent may lose some. But at the end of the day, relation is kept. So that's the key, right? When you're trying to resolve a conflict, you need to make sure both are winning, even if it means some compromises made by both sides. So why management? So some people think it's when you're an individual contributor, you're delivering a lot. That's what I used to think. What am I doing? Why am I working 10 hours, 15 hours a day? Why my manager seems to be just collecting all the status and presenting. It's a cool job. That's how it looks initially. But as you mature, you can when you understand what exactly the management is doing. Even at a director level, a VP level, it's not about posting a quarterly all hands or something, right? There's a much thought that goes behind what summary of slides you are getting to see. So trying to understand what it takes to be a manager, and then the person who is trying to seek that role needs to enjoy the leadership, right? You need to be able to drive the change and enjoy the impact that comes along. And one thing, I believe Ian being also mentioned, know yourself, right? That is the key, even when you start from your early days on, when you're trying to seek the first level management. What is your strengths and what are your weaknesses? That's the key. I think we have something called Myers-Briggs. You can take a 60+ questions survey to let you know who you are. No matter how many times I try to take that one, I always end up with the ENTJ, right? There's a different categories. So you, whenever you take that survey, you try to improve some areas. It doesn't change a whole lot. If you were an introvert or lifelong, I mean, somewhere in the middle, if it shows that you as an introvert, you can change to some extent and you can fit in, you cannot. But it's really tough. It takes a lot of effort to completely undo what it shows when you are at 40, right? Or even when you are at 30. So it's good to keep aware of whatever the character it is showing. It's good to find some role that aligns with who you are. And then the other key skill that you can develop at early stages when you're trying to seek management is project management and program management. That is a foundation to line management. I mean, the reason we talk about project management, program management at this time is because the jargon is defined. It's more structured for communication, but the same project and program management has been done by line management for decades now, right? So it's easier to communicate the schedule management or scope and cost management and so on using the project management terminology these days. But it has been done by line management even before program management ever came to limelight. And the next one is leverage current network. So when you are in this mode of, okay, this is the time I am seeking a change, either into technical path or management, that's when you build your skill set, whichever you find it as a gap. At that time, it's best to find change within the company that you are in. It's easier, right? Most companies do not want to lose a person who has established themselves in a company, who are authentic and who work hard, right? Nobody wants to lose them. So if you are showing an interest, okay, I would like to try a program management, or I would like to be a first-line manager. If you already have a credibility in that organization, they will not want to lose you. Instead, they will offer you what you're seeking. So when you have gained the knowledge that you needed to step into that role, it's good to seek a change within the company. For some reason, if it's not working, then it's good to seek outside company. At that time, the networking can help you. And the last one is, are you in for power and glamour? So if that is the truth and you're not saying it out, you'll figure after getting into the role, it's not as easy as it seems from outside. People management is not easy. For one reason, it's a lot easier to do the job yourself when you know how to do it, versus to influence team to do the same work. So it's not for everybody, the management, right? People who inherently, people person who can influence or who can drive the change, so they find it easier to be transitioned into the management. So I'm going to, even if you are not able to read this one, just don't worry, I'm going to talk to you. I just wanted to just spend one more minute on the project and program management, because I feel it's the foundation for starting your role as a line manager. Either it could be a first-line manager or a program management will help you even at a director role. So it's key to understand, you need to gain a skill of how to create a plan of action, how to create a milestones, how to manage the schedule of your product that you're doing, and how to do cost management, scope management, communication, etc. All this can be learned very early on using the project management. The difference between the project and the program management, program is a superset of projects, connected, related projects are grouped together, can be called as a program. Mostly it's called program because of the complexity involved. The difference between the project and a program is more complex, it's cross-functional in nature. The complexity exists because of a technical complexity or business complexity, or the way it is structured across different groups or within across the companies as well. Alright, so now that you gain some skill that you think you are ready to transition, right? You're ready to transition from software engineer to either program management line or the first-line management. So what do you think are the skill set that companies might be looking to filter, right? It's just not enough if you have a technical skill set. They would look at, can you think in business terms? Can you look at customer point of view? Can you also, do you have enough experience? You may, even though you are very ambitious and you are trying to seek the change, it got to be the right time as well. You need to have that minimum experience. Right? I give you an example. Just 2 weeks back, we hired an international candidate on a promotion. And then after 2 weeks, that candidate started in the role. She started to ask, what is the director's salaries here? What can you become a VP so I can become a director? That kind of a talk. Right? So even though she could be very ambitious and technical, that's not the way to put it. You need to show some patience. A career is a long-term activity. It's something between 30 to 40 years is what you have. Even if you're hardworking and ambitious, it's good to wait minimum a year or two before you can seek the change one more time. Right? So do you have enough experience? And then relationships. So that's really critical when you're stepping to a management or even early on, first time to all the way to the director. Can you keep the relationships? It's not all about winning. Sometimes it's very important you keep the relation. I can give you an example. One of the outsourced program that we were doing with Accenture, we couldn't get the license because of so many legal battles that were going between Oracle and their staff at that time. And then we ended up doing it at some third-party company, which is a smaller company. Somehow that program didn't have enough customers, so we were dropping it. And then one of my ex-boss, he didn't want to pay what customer already incurred in building that product. That was not the right way to do it, right? We could have cut the scope and we could have we have still kept that customer for some other programs because they were an ongoing gold partner. And then that partner who didn't get paid for that 20,000, they didn't want to work with that person ever again. So it is very critical to keep the relation versus a small amount of money, even for the business reasons. So you need to understand whether you are working with the vendors or whether you are working with outside contractors. It's always good to keep the relation versus a smaller business objectives that you have at that time. And then capability on leadership skills, right? When you're seeking a first line management, even though you may fit all the needs of what the organization is looking for, they also would like to see, can you take up next level role as well? Do you have capability to be a leader in the future? So that also could be a criteria. So all these things, the filters that are very obvious ones, sometimes corporates may have not so transparent filters. We could talk about it later. And the next one is what you need for you to be a first line or second line and third line. If you have technical skills and you're really good at what you're doing today, you might still be able to do first line management. But it's very important to have interpersonal skills, how you build relationships, soft skills, etc. for the second line management. And then you need to have administrative as well as strategic nature if you want to be seeking a director up. This is a bit more information into what I talked in the last slide. If you are expecting to be a team leader, I mapped directly this slide into the previous slide, project and program management. If you're a good project manager, you can be a good team leader as well as a supervisor, right? So that is what it is. If you can do scope management, and then you can do scope and cost, quality, those kind of minimum things, you will still be able to do a team leader activity. And then see, that is what it says, if you are able to put a plan of action and then milestones, and you are able to track the project. But if you want to be a supervisor, you need to do a bit more. Demonstrate core values, situational leadership. You can plan as much as you want, but project management or line management is all about how you take decisions when a situation arises. Right? The ability to think through the options and pick the right option. So that's what the situational leadership is. And then for you to be a first line and second line manager, you should be able to do most of the program management or project management knowledge areas, right? You should be able to do risk management, change management, communication, and then you can see marketing skills as well as technology management, resource management. So program management is typically defined in 9 knowledge areas. So you should be able to do all 9 areas, procurement management, etc. for you to be good first line and second line management. And for executives, one thing that we need to have is strategic vision, able to see what your company goals are and define how you get there. So that is a strict, and then able to map that to how you get there to the programs and projects that you define. And then be a liaison. You should be one point contact within the organization for the other business units or from the outside company. You should be the one person that people can reach out to if they have a technical or business related questions. All right, I'm almost coming to the end. One thing is, if you are seeking either program management or a management position, don't be timid. Right? I remember when I was seeking a transition out of Cisco, I went to one interview. I prepared myself for everything. I took the certifications, I'm done with my master's. I'm all ready to take a next level role. I got that job, but one question really stood out is that VP asked me, why are you coming back to work? I took a break because of my second child. And then I said, I have a nanny at home, so I'm ready to work. He said, you have 2 kids, you don't have to work. Then out of courtesy, I asked, how many do you have, right? He said 4. So I couldn't understand why, if he has a 4, he's able to come to work, and why I couldn't go if I had 2. But I took it easy, and I still have lunch with him every now and then when I get a chance. And I still say this is the, I say, the question that I never got in any other interview. How did you ask that question? And then he laughed about it. So he said, you still got me that your answer, right? So don't bother about it. So it doesn't matter what kind of a question comes at you, but you are able to convince them and then get that job. So that's all it takes. So knowing the filters and obstacles that you can get and how you can get over with it, right? So I would think you plan for your career, and sometimes you get stuck. Whatever you plan may or may not come through. You say that over by 10 years I have to get somewhere, and then your organization is not growing. That can happen. Or the company itself is not doing it. That can happen. As long as you know what it takes for you to be prepared for the next level role and build your network. So that's what this one says. Prepare yourself for the next level, and then and have a mentor, somebody to guide you. If you feel you're stuck, or if you think you hit a roadblock, you need to understand what's the next step that you could take. And then you have a mentor to guide you. And then when an opportunity comes, you are there. So don't get thrown into a next level without a preparation, right? You prepare up front, so it gets easier for you when you take up the next level role. Going back to most of the advice that you got today from other panelists. So know yourself. So that's the best way to prepare yourself for the next level. Personality and behavior. So sometimes if you are an introvert, it's good to be in the engineering side. If you're really outgoing, sometimes sales kind of a roles helps you, right? Or customer success kind of roles. And if you are very passionate and a people person, probably HR and operations type of it. So there are, it's not that if you don't fit into these categories, you cannot be in that organization, but it kind of helps you to have the character to be successful in those organizations. So it's good to know who you are, what your strengths are, what your weakness is, so you can find a right organization where you can excel and work within yourself. Don't become something you're not. If you're somewhere in the borderline, if you speak in some areas, example, communication, you don't feel comfortable speaking in a wider audience, probably some kind of a practice can get you there, right? But if you are absolutely not interested in taking a stage and speaking, you feel very uncomfortable, there's no point in doing it. You can still find some roles which do not require that kind of a skill, right? Take care of yourself. So the management, sometimes from our peers, it's different from when you step in. It takes a lot of your energy. One, most of the engineering organizations require you to be technical and also do the people management, right? So the people management is not easy when you're leading a large group. It takes a lot of your energy to resolve technical issues that come through, as well as the personality differences that you may see. So, strike balance, don't become a workaholic. So, when you're an engineer, sometimes you're a bachelor, probably you got to work 15 hours a day, still fine, right? When you're a manager, probably along the same time frame, your work-life events are changing. Probably you are married or you have children. So there's a lot of energy that you end up spending at home and also at work. So it's good to keep a balance so that whatever you deliver is impactful versus spending long hours and then getting burnt out. Then your frustration shows up in both places, right? It is not good. So I will end with a note, as long as you know yourself and then build some credibility in the organization, you can grow within the company. But when you are stuck, you can always find either within the company or outside role that matches. And use the network that you build as a network and a mentor as two places you can put your efforts so they can help you to take that transition. Thank you.
So thanks, Nitu, thanks for your great talk. Again, apologize for the screen. The slide will available shortly online.